Oh, hello.
Hello.
And welcome to Charming Disasters Quarantine live stream. We're so happy to be here with you. Oh, it's Hannah. Hello, Hannah and Ken and Nico.
Ooh.
This is an exciting night, and we see Jeanette and we see Mike and Carrie and Mike and Jeanette and Fred in the comments. So welcome everyone. This is an exciting night for a number of reasons. The first of which is we have a special Marie Curie themed show in store for you, and we'll talk more about that
Yeah,
in
very
a second.
exciting.
We also are waiting for a takeout order. We ordered some Thai food over half an hour ago. It was supposed to arrive before we went live, but it didn't, which means now it's going to happen during the show. So get excited about that.
That also means we haven't eaten that much, too.
Yeah, we're a little. It's fine. It's going to be fine. Hello to Matt and Misty and Melissa. Hello to Paula. Sarah, happy birthday to you. Birthday weekend.
All right, Sarah.
Hello, Donald and Jim and Eve. And we are very glad to be here with all of you. If you are new to Charming Disasters Quarantine Livestream, this is a donation-based show, which means if you are in a position to support what we're doing financially, we super appreciate it. There are a lot of different ways to do that. We have Venmo and PayPal and a virtual ticket link, and you can also buy music or merchandise on Bandcamp, which lets you listen to us in the privacy of your own home during the week when we're not doing this.
Yes, but if you're not in a position to give at this time, which many of us are not, just your presence is here, and this is our gift to you. Just your presence here is super important to us, so we're really glad you're here.
Indeed. We're going to begin with our usual opening ritual, which is drawing a tarot card to tell us a little bit about the show and the weekend store.
All right. So we're using the Kim Cran's Wild Unknown Tarot, and we are choosing the star, which is hard to read in this weird light.
The star shape is pretty clear.
It's kind of hard to read a star in general.
Yeah.
There you have it.
So the star, let's talk about what is a star. It's a ball of energy out in space, emitting rays of light and energy. Very similar to some other things. So let's take a step back. Let's talk about alchemy.
Oh, way back.
Oh, wait. Before we talk about alchemy, it looks like the takeout order arrived. So hold on a second. It looks like right in front of me. Hold on a second. I'm just gonna...
Hi.
Hi, is this the takeout order?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay, we'll be right down to get it. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Thank
thank you.
Okay, here I go.
Okay, so we're gonna send Jeff out on a mission. Okay, so we're gonna see how this goes. All right, good luck. Oh, put on your mask.
Where's my...
I don't know.
Hold this.
Okay. All right, he's gonna put on the mask.
All right, what's everyone else eating?
Yeah, what is everyone else eating tonight? Or drinking, either way. All right, Godspeed.
Thank you.
Be careful out there. What did we order? We ordered from this vegetarian Thai place called Wild Ginger, and we got pad see with like Chinese broccoli, and we got vegetable dumplings and spring rolls. I think we were kind of in a hurry. That's what we got. Now, Eve, I saw you said that you can't see us. You can only hear us on YouTube. If anybody else is listening oh, Jeff's connection just cut out, so that's not going to work. All right, we'll bring him back when it starts up again. So yeah, if anybody else is on YouTube and having trouble, just give us a shout. But I suspect that might be a problem on your end, Eve. Okay, so come on over to Facebook. Come over to the dark side. So let's talk about alchemy now that Jeff is gone. Alchemy, it's sort of like training to be a ninja, right? Like by the time you achieve mastery, you no longer desire to abuse the power that you're acquiring. But in between, there's a lot of like dangerous stuff that can happen. Oh, wait, here comes Jeff. He's back on the Wi-Fi. Oh, yeah, look, it looks like he was successful. Okay, here he comes. You're a hero. You're a hero. I started talking about alchemy, but I didn't get too far into it, so don't worry. All right, I'm going to take you out of the stream now. All right, now you can shut that down. All right. Yeah, let's... All right. All right, so, yeah, this show is off to a really smooth start, don't you think?
Oh, so smooth.
So smooth.
Well, we have food. That's really important.
For later.
Alchemy. So we were talking about alchemy.
We're talking about alchemy and how what people think alchemy is turning lead into gold, turning one substance into another substance, which the alchemists called transmutation. Of course, we know that alchemy is really about seeking higher knowledge and unlocking the mysteries of the universe.
Purifying oneself.
And making the Philosopher's Stone and homunculi and,
Everyone knows this.
Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
But that idea of transmutation fascinated the alchemists. And eventually alchemy was supplanted by scientific method and chemistry and like what we consider science in the modern era. But the thing that happened when Curie and her colleagues started studying elements and the phenomenon which Curie eventually described as radioactivity, a term that she coined, what they were describing, what they were observing was actually transmutation, was one element turning into another element through the process of radioactive decay. Yeah. Radioactive decay is energy shooting out from an atom, from an element, a radioactive element. Just as a star emits light and energy, radium emits particles
and rays.
Like a tiny sun.
As it emits these particles, it starts its transformation process.
So you have what's called a chain of radioactive decay. So you start with uranium, and uranium emits subatomic elements, which then turn into it, which means that uranium then turns eventually into polonium and radium turns into radon, and radon eventually turns into lead, and it kind of stops. But these unstable elements emit protons and nuclei and other elements.
And this had
particles.
never before been observed in this scientific setting, that one element turning into something else. It was completely new.
And in fact, Ernest Rutherford, who was an English scientist whose work kind of laid the groundwork for what Curie continued with, when he and his lab partner observed this phenomenon for the first time, he said, "Don't call it transmutation. They'll have us killed as alchemists."
Yeah, they'll cut our heads.
They'll cut our heads off.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
Well, it's a good thing we don't do that anymore to alchemists.
Yeah, we'd be in trouble. That's for sure.
We'd be in trouble.
So we're gonna play you a bunch of songs inspired by Marie Curie and her work and her life, and we're gonna start with this one, which is called "Power of the Sun," which is a song about radium itself and its discovery.
Oh, here's this guitar. It just happens to be here.
Convenient.
Do you need to tune your...
No, I just tuned. I tuned while you were gone. And if you want to get a lot of the references in the song, I suggest after the show just reading the Wikipedia entry on radio. Silvery white in color, blackening in the air. The metal rusts as soon as it's forged. The powder is unremarkable, and it's commonplace table salt. You throw it over your shoulder and it's transformed. Is it the burning bush of Moses, how the fires don't go out? Or that old perpetual notion that we dream so long about? And the glowing tubes of glass look like enchanted fairy lights suspended What have we done?
We've set in motion
We're flying to
chain reaction,
close to the sun.
natural progression,
Out of control.
the power of the
What have
sun.
we done?
We've set in motion
We're flying to
chain reaction,
close to the sun.
natural progression,
Out of control.
the power of the sun.
Maybe it was irresponsible. The genie is out of the bottle, with the fever to boil its own weight in ice. It's the alpha and omega, and gamma and beta, passes through matter with X-ray eyes. It was a god in ancient Egypt when the pyramids did rise, by the light of that eternal burning disk up in the sky. Then the chariot descended to the darkness underground. The golden horse-drawn carriage was too heavy to slow down. What have we done?
We've set in motion
We're flying to
chain reaction,
close to the sun.
natural progression,
Out of control.
the power of the
What
sun.
have we done?
We've set in motion
We're flying
chain reaction,
close to the sun.
natural progression,
Out of control.
the power of the sun.
There's no mistake. Alchemical transmutation, continual cycle of death and rebirth. Chemistry of the invisible, hidden in mineral, scattered like glittering stars in the earth. You're chasing down a vision, though the nights are dark and long. You can hear it calling in the Geiger counter song, and the crucible is glowing as it burns away your fears. The great work that you undertake lasts 1600 years. What have we done?
We've set in motion
We're flying
the chain reaction,
close to the sun.
natural progression,
Out of
the
control.
power of the
What
sun.
have we done?
We've set in motion
We're flying
the chain reaction,
close to the sun.
natural progression,
Out of
the
control.
power of the sun.
Hello, new people just joining us. Um, so in January 1917, in January 2017,
1817.
My
We were
years.
just
we were
children.
just starting out.
Yeah, we
Um,
got an artist residency.
we in January 2017 we did an artist residency,
Mhm.
and we had a plan, which was that we wanted to write a cycle of songs about Curie and her work. We, up until then, had written lots of story songs, but each song is kind of its own universe, which you are probably
Mhm.
familiar with if you know our catalog. But we wanted to take on the challenge of writing a bunch of songs that were all kind of part of the same story. We were really inspired by this graphic novel called Radioactive by Lauren Redness. Henchperson Dan, I think you just shared both of those links in the comments. If you wouldn't mind resharing those as separate links so that people can see the previews, that would it's just a little easier to see. But Lauren Redness wrote this gorgeous graphic novel about Curie, her relationship with Pierre, the work that they did together, and the ramifications of that work. And it's visually beautiful, and also it's told in this non-linear way. We wanted in our song cycle to similarly approach the story from like a bunch of different points rather than as like a linear biography kind of arc.
Right.
So when we went to the residency, we had a reading list. We had like a long book list, and the way that we worked on these songs was to kind of look for the sparkly bits.
Yes, we both took out lots of books from the library and started reading them and taking notes, pulling out the things that interested us, the little quotes or just the little factoids that were really exciting and interesting. And then we took these things while on residency. We took them all and wrote them, each one of these little segments down on note cards.
Yeah. Oh, here, I can show a picture of
Oh,
that.
show the note cards. It's proof.
Yeah.
On the left, you see...
Yes, this is us at the end of the residency with our, like, 100 note cards.
And our books.
And our book list.
Yes.
And so once we had all of our note cards, we kind of went through that. We didn't know at the outset, like, what the songs were going to be about. But
right.
We're like, oh, here's, like, 10 note cards that all talk about, like, the properties of radium specifically. And so it seems like we could do a song about radium.
Right. Here's one about the relationship between Pierre and Marie Curie. Here's one about the duel that happened. Here's one that about, so all the things that kind of coalesced into groups, and we would every day, was it?
Yeah,
when
so
we were
like by
ready
the
to
middle of
do
the
this.
residency, we would have our morning meeting. We would look at the index cards that were now like defined by themes in categories, and I'd be like, all right, I will do the one about her process, and
I'll pick the mining stuff.
And then we'd go off to our separate corners, and we'd each start the song, and then later in the day we would do like a show and tell, and then we would pick one to work on together, and then we would work on the other one together.
Yeah, it was all very collaborative, but we'd have this time when we were working separately, and you could hear the other person. Oh, I could hear Elia. It's just us two. I could hear Elia working on a thing, working some music, and I'm like, oh my god, I gotta get my stuff together.
It was really motivating. I was like, oh god, it really sounds like he's got something up there. Like I gotta get my shit together.
I'm like, oh, she's singing already. I just sat down. What is she singing? So, it was really a good environment to spur creativity.
So that's kind of like the backstory of our process on this. Now Hannah asked a question. Can you talk more about the "What have we done" line? And like we'll get a little more into that.
That's a specific question.
I know, I love that. Well, so one of the themes that emerges in looking at Curie's work is that her work led not only to scientific advances but also to really dangerous stuff. And radium itself, we'll talk more about this, but turned out to be a really dangerous substance. And so it's a little bit like the Pandora's box story, where you've kind of opened these possibilities that lead to tragedy or destruction. And we love mythology, obviously, and like this is a theme that runs through a lot of mythological stories, from Prometheus to Pandora to Daedalus. So the Icarus story of the inventor's son who crafts himself a pair of wings to escape from their imprisonment on, is it Crete? Is it right? So he crafts himself a pair of wings to fly away, but the wings are held together with wax, and so he flies too high and the sun melts the wax and tragedy ensues.
Basically any kind of human folly.
Yeah.
You've
all experienced it.
All experienced
you fly
folly.
A little too high and you experience the terrible, tragic consequences. Now, speaking of the power of chemistry.
Oh, are we talking? What are we? Yes. Sorry, I got very excited.
I know there's a lot going on. Okay, so if you were here last week, you may recall that we began a scientific experiment of our own, which was infusing vodka with different spices to see what kind of delicious results would ensue. We tasted the.
I'm gonna take this.
Okay, great.
Do this.
Oh yeah.
and show.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right, so let's explain and I'll show.
So we have 5 jars. They have vodka in them. It's just like Tito's. It's nothing fancy. And we put that is the cinnamon stick.
Cinnamon stick. Look at that red.
Yeah. So we tasted them last week, and we gave you a report. So we're gonna.
Yeah, you take them.
So 1 week later, we're gonna give you the updated report.
I know
on the
people are
vodka
dying
infusion.
to
I
know.
know they're dying to know. So
How could it be?
It's like almost red. All right, and what's that one? Oh, chili pepper.
Oh, this is chili pepper. This is chili pepper.
Good luck. All right, cinnamon.
Cheers.
All right. Okay. Smells like cinnamon.
Oh, that packed a punch.
Wow. This is delicious.
Oh, this is great.
This
great.
is like, it's sort of like a fireball. It's like kind of sweet.
This is like a different type of ball of fire.
I feel like if we mix these together, that's going to be like a future week's. All right.
Oh, be careful.
All right. It's going to snip some. All right. All right. So that's chili pepper and cinnamon.
What is this? Water bears we have in here?
That's star anise.
Star anise.
All right. Star anise.
Oh, that's yours.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll just do 2.
All right. I can't open this jar. Oh god. Okay. It's just a little bit on my lap.
Star anise, and this is black pepper.
All right. To your health.
To your health. Oh, this is really.
Also good. It also has like a sort of sweetness to it, even though there's no sugar in it. Just like licoricey.
Yes, this also is.
Okay, I want to taste
flavor
the
profile. Oh, it's really good.
I want to taste the pepper one. Rhiannon, my friend Rhiannon, is the one who inspired the black pepper one. Rhiannon, if you're watching, thank you.
Ooh. I'm okay, thank you. I'm not going to need 911, but.
This is going to make a good Bloody Mary someday. Okay,
and this,
finally.
This is
cardamom.
Cardamom.
Yeah.
It's not some pupa.
These are really good. I'm not a vodka drinker, but if you put stuff in it, it's really good. Oh, I'm gonna share with you a traditional family toast from my family, which is I think originated with a mistake, but this is what we say in my family: not bottoms up, and not to your health, but up yours.
To your bottom.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah. Be good with Indian food.
Yeah, it's now we're gonna have to start making combinations of these.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna be.
I think they're definitely ready for use.
Yeah, we should probably fish out the stuff. All right, well, chemistry. It's a successful experiment. So, as we were mentioning, radium turns out to be very highly toxic. But before they figured that out, there were some exciting commercial applications that arose. So following World War One, well, there were, they used stuff in wartime. Then after the war is over, it becomes commercialized. Yeah. So an example of this was radium-based paint. So radium, because it is like a tiny sun emitting particles all the time, has the ability to excite other elements which rely on so phosphorus, right? So phosphorus, for example, glows in the dark. If you expose it to sunlight for a while, it absorbs energy from the sunlight, and then it can emit that energy, and that's where you get glow in the dark stuff. But if you remember from your glow in the dark crayons when you're a kid, you have to or your glow in the dark stars on your ceiling now as an adult with
we didn't have a ceiling when we were really young.
Literal stars. So you have to expose them to sunlight for a while, and they kind of charge up, and then they glow, and then they lose the glow, and you have to charge them up again. So if you mix radium with phosphorus paint, it glows continuously. It glows all the time. You never have to recharge it, which means if you need to have a gun sight or a watch face or something else in wartime that glows and does it
some dial, yeah. Did you know, just side note, did you know the wristwatch was one of those applications also? There was no wristwatches before World War One, because you were out in the trenches or whatever, you needed to take your little pocket watch and stick it on your wrist. So wristwatches, that was post World War One. Anyway, so there was a big market for wristwatches, watches, and all sorts of
And also for this
dials.
glow-in-the-dark paint, they called it Undark. It was a patent product. And glow-in-the-dark, Undark paint, it was marketed to like, oh, like paint it on your doorbell and paint it on your, you know, your whatever you want to glow in the dark. Your bell, your like light poles.
Your light switch.
Yeah, light switches. So that's pretty cool. But also, they would manufacture wristwatches and they would employ young women in these nice factory jobs to like draw on the numbers with a very, very fine brush. And the young women were encouraged to lip point the brushes because they were very fine, you know, and which means you go like that to make the brush very fine to draw on the letters. So radium, the kind of radiation that radium emits is called alpha radiation, and it's heavy nuclear particles. It's like proton and neutron, and alpha radiation is very heavy and very slow, which means it can be stopped by like a sheet of paper or like the outside of your skin. But if it goes through that barrier, it causes a lot of damage. And that means if you ingest radium or inhale it, it's real bad, really, really bad. And these women were ingesting tons of like minute quantities over a long period of time. Radium's a bone seeker. It resembles calcium chemically, which means it replaces the calcium in your bones, which not only is a problem because it isn't as hard as bone, so your bones start to crumble. Phosphorus also does this, but phosphorus does not irradiate you from the inside, which unfortunately radium does.
These women were breathing radon gas.
They were breathing. They were
radon gas.
Radon is it's a what's called a daughter of
it's
of
part of
radium.
the process as it breaks down. It turns into radon. But you could develop photographic film from the breath of these girls.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Pretty horrible.
And their jaws started crumbling, and it was horrible.
Yeah, it was totally
thing.
tragic, and there was like a decades-long like litigation, class action lawsuit.
Yeah. And they just stalled and waited for those poor girls to die before.
They won, and I mean, the litigation was successful in the end.
Right.
Too late to help any of them, but it laid the groundwork for all kinds of like occupational hazard
OSHA
safety
came
stuff.
out of this,
Now, the other reason why nobody was concerned about the lip pointing thing is that because radium had these miracle drug properties for cancer treatment, like there was nothing you could really do about cancer until radium, and then suddenly you could like have radiation treatment, which was a huge thing. So people just thought it was good for you, and they put it in everything.
Yeah.
It was put, and Curie did not take out a patent on radium. The Curies wanted it to be basically like an open source product, and so people put it in everything. They put it in toothpaste, they put it in face lotion, they put it in
this was a magical
drinking water, condoms, lotion, like jugs that you would put water in that would radiate your water. So there were all these like quack medicine things, and that was pretty bad. And people did eventually start dying from that stuff as well. Yeah,
this was the first like real exciting thing because it glowed in the dark. Nothing glowed in the dark like this before. And science was still thought of as the thing that could cure everything. And it's science, it can't be bad for me. So this was like early, and it was a fad like omega-3 oils now, or CBD oil or something like that. It's everywhere. And you mentioned it was in condoms, right?
I mentioned the condoms, yeah.
Anyway, it was just, that is the kind of landscape that we're in.
And so the women who worked in these factories, like they would like, you know, they'd like put it on their teeth for a joke, and then like they'd go home and like freak out their boyfriends or whatever. But one woman noticed that she was glowing in the dark when she got home, and the lights were out in the mirror. Anyway, this is a song about those women. It's called Radium Girls. Moisten the brush with the tip of your tongue, a delicate touch for the lines that you're painting. A second hand sweeps round the face of the clock. Number the hours, and they glow in the dark. It's a miracle.
like you're going to church.
They show you your desk
With the rest of the workers,
radio
girls,
make a generous wage, breaking the dawn of the nuclear age. It's a miracle, all those factory girls,
factory
invisible,
so
light of the world. It's a miracle, all those factory girls, so
factory
invisible.
gonna light up the world.
For any disease, we can give you the cure. Your bones turn to dust by the light of the future. The darker the night, the more brilliant it shines. Eternal flame burns for half of all time. It's a miracle.
It's a
It's
miracle.
a miracle.
It's a
It's
miracle.
a miracle.
It's a miracle.
It's a
It's a
miracle.
miracle.
It's a miracle.
Miracle.
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle.
Moisten the brush with the tip of your tongue. Delicate touch on
The lines that you're painting,
second hand sweeps
round the face of the clock.
number the hours
And they glow in the dark.
The line about the darker the night, the more brilliant they shine is actually, it was actually an advertising slogan
Yeah, that was
for
promo copy
undark,
for
undark
Undark.
paint. Yeah, the darker the night, the more brilliant it shines. But we saw that and we liked it too, so we took it.
Hmm.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
so
it was fun doing, like, in taking these quotes and writing the things down that interested us. We wound up taking a lot of quotes and using those quotes as lyrics, as, like, you know, the basis for some lyrical things. So
so embedded in these songs are quotes from Marie Curie herself and quotes from her correspondence with Hertha Ayrton, who is an English mathematician who studied waves on the beach in the sand. And there's actually a great play about Curie and Hertha Ayrton.
yeah,
We have correspondence between and about Pierre and Marie and friends of theirs and all kinds of other stuff. So we have been working on these songs for a really long time. And we're always kind of like our process is always kind of long, going from songwriting to recording, but these songs especially so, partly because our original vision for these songs was that it was going to be a musical. It was going to be like a theatrical production. And so we've spent some time seeking support from, granting organizations and residencies to further develop the work, since there are a few places that kind of focus on offering that kind of support. We haven't gotten any of those things that we applied for, which is fine. Like, we learn something every time we apply, and it's kind of has forced us to think about it concretely.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not a waste of time applying for those things, but we haven't gotten that kind of support. And eventually, when COVID started and our touring and other recording plans kind of fell by the wayside until things get right again, it seemed like this was the time to just bite the bullet and start recording these.
no bullets were bitten. But yeah, we got some some fancy microphones, I think, as we mentioned before, and we got to go away and just work on them.
Yeah, and those fancy microphones are in no small part thanks to all of you watching and supporting these shows. So thank you for like helping us reinvest in the work. The other thing that's been an interesting kind of silver lining to having to wait so long to record these songs is that we haven't just been sitting on them. We've kind of like chewing them over and marinating on them, and we have started finding parts of the songs in the other songs as we have started recording them. And so it kind of furthers the non-linearity of the story that we're trying to tell, in that we now have like pieces of every song in some
Every
other song. Yeah, so it's like getting really dense, and that is really exciting.
It's all just like it's all coming together. And this past week when we were up at Ellie's folks' house, we had started, doing the vocals and adding. We added piano on this track, but it's cool. It's really been coming together, and it's just really exciting.
It has. Now, Misty asked, what about a Kickstarter? That's how I found you originally. That's a great idea, Misty. We are, in fact, talking about doing a Kickstarter to produce the record that these recordings will end up becoming. So stay tuned for more about that. Like we have, I think what we're able to do now is work on these recordings, and then when it's time to actually make them into a thing, we're going to need help for that, and we're excited. We want to make like a glow in the dark record, and that's like I'll just be happy if we have a glow in the dark record.
Not using real radium, of course, but yes, it will glow in the dark.
And we have another question from Hannah. Did Marie Curie know about how toxic radium was? Did she know? She eventually knew, but not when that stuff was happening. Like it took a long time. It took a couple of decades to really understand what the ramifications were of it. But they had inklings though.
They had inklings, but they didn't really, like, personally, they didn't take any precautions about it.
So Marie, like Pierre had like a vial of it was radium chloride, like that's what they got it down to when they got their Nobel Prize, which is radium and chloride. It's like radium salt. And then eventually she reduced it to pure radium, and that's when she got the Nobel Prize for chemistry after the second Nobel. But Pierre Curie had like a bunch of radium chloride salts in a little vial, and he like kept it on his person like all the time, and they would bring it out at parties and be like, "Ooh, look, it glows in the dark." Yeah. So, but he got a lesion. But they were experimenting with it. He like put it against his skin, and he got a lesion from it, like a radiation burn. And it took forever to heal. And so like they knew that it could like cause a burn. And they suspect, because radium is a bone seeker, it causes like leukemias and anemias. Like it affects the blood because it gets by the bone marrow. And like they sort of had a feeling that like maybe their illness and weakness that was developing slowly over time over their like long proximity to radium had something to do with it. But the cancer stuff was so exciting, and I don't think they really knew until much later.
And it really seemed to be like, this is her baby, and like, how could it can't hurt me, or like, or at least a feeling of unwilling to admit that this thing is, killing me.
Yeah.
At least that's how it's portrayed in that play that we saw.
Right.
But it kind of makes sense with what we've read.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of projects that we want to tell you about, this is a separate thing, but we've had so much fun doing these shows with you, and like it being so participatory, that we wanted to offer a chance to do something with us on a project, and we wondered if you would all like to be in a music video that we were gonna make. So last year, for the winter solstice, we released a song called Longest Night of the Year, which is a fun ditty about human sacrifice to ensure the return of the light. Just like a holiday song. And we thought that we would love to invite you all to participate by doing a little lip sync to a piece of that song, and we're gonna, piece it all together, and we're gonna make a big, beautiful holiday video starring you. And if you don't want to be on screen, if you'd rather remain incognito, like it could be like your pet, or like
you could be in disguise.
You could have like a sock puppet, or like like hold up a sign with words on it. Like we don't care how you do it. We would love for you to participate. So we have henchperson 10. If you'd like to share the link, we have created a very handy website with a form where you can submit your video, and the lyrics are there, and the links are there to listen if you don't have that track. We will need your videos by December 4th, and we'll post about this on socials in the next few days too. But we wanted to tell you specifically because you are the people we thought would be most interested.
We care about you the most.
We love you the most. Sign up, send us your videos, and we'll put them together, and then we'll all have a video together. Yeah,
it'd be really great.
All right, so we said that we didn't want to talk too much about like the sort of narrative arc of her biography, but her biography is very interesting. She was Polish. She came from a family of teachers and scholars and academics, but Poland at the time was under Russian rule, and women were not allowed access to higher education. And so there was something called the floating university, which was these like clandestine university.
Flying?
Sometimes it's called flying, and sometimes it's called floating. I assume that's because it's translated from the Polish. Yeah. The floating university was a way for women to study like college level, science. Like university level science. Marie was doing it. Her sister Branya was doing it. But like it was really dangerous, and people like the professors could get sent to the gulag, and like the women studying could like get imprisoned. Like it was really dangerous. Even just like teaching things in the Polish language was prohibited. Right,
they all had to speak
Russian. Yeah. So eventually Branya and Maria, they she's called her nickname. It's like in one of the books. Anyway, they came up with a plan, which was Branya was able to get enough money to go to Paris to work as to work there and like be a teacher, and she settled there. And Maria, she worked as a governess in the countryside, and she was like saving up her money and mostly sending it to Branya in Paris. And eventually Branya was settled, and she could send for Marie, but it took years. And finally, Marie gets to Paris, where she can like study, like she can finally like finish her education. She's obviously like a brilliant scientist, in budding scientist, but she hasn't been able to access the training that she needs. So finally she gets to Paris, and she has this like apartment of her own. I love this part where she has this like little like 5th floor like walk up, and she has her own space, and she can like she's one of the very few women who's doing this kind of studying. She meets Pierre, and Pierre makes a space for her in his laboratory, and eventually her research becomes so compelling that he like stops his own research and just starts working on hers with her. He courts her with research papers. She agonizes over whether to go back to Poland or whether to marry Pierre, and eventually decides to marry Pierre and stay in France. And so they embarked on this partnership together, where they were life partners, they were working partners, creative partners. Like they did everything together. They worked for years and years, like with these like thankless kind of menial tasks of trying to break down tons of the mineral pitch blend to try and find what they thought was in there, which turned out to be radium. So their story is very special. And Pierre, we don't hear a lot about Pierre, but like he was really a special person. He was very sensitive. He loved ponds and like wildlife. And when they were on their honeymoon bicycling through France, like he like whenever they passed a pond, they'd have to like stop so he could like go like check out the frogs and stuff.
and bicycling. They bicycled together, and that was a new kind of technology that was happening. And they were both like avid cyclists, and they both fixed their own bicycles because there was hardly any repair shops.
Yeah, and like there are these like household account books that are like primary source documents for historians now, and like their household accounts have like bicycle repair stuff like listed in them like pretty consistently.
Yeah.
And
so they did everything together.
Yes, and so Pierre and Marie, their story was very special, and the song describes their origins. Okay. Would you just jam for a second while I do something real quick?
Side by side, we would have all we need.
Ride our bicycles down to the sea, the sun and the sand and the breeze, and set out a blanket and read. Together consider the great mysteries. Let us explore. Force in the nature, making a light in the dark. So we spent the last few days recording these. We started recording these over the summer. The first thing that we did was we did scratch tracks, which means playing and singing them at the same time to a tempo with a metronome, so that we have something to go by. And then we re-record the vocals and we re-record the uke and the guitar, and we add other stuff. And it's a very long process. So we did the scratch tracks, I think, in August. Mm-hmm. And we did the uke and guitar and the vocals in September. And we just spent 3 days adding piano. And some other miscellany, glockenspiel. And
you might not know, neither of us are professional piano players.
Not professional piano players.
So it took some time.
Yeah, it's hard. Playing the piano is hard. I'd like to give a big shout out to my parents who let us use their house for this.
Thank you.
And the piano, which is critical when you are trying to record piano. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's the piano that I took lessons on when I was like 9 years old, and it sounded really good. We got it tuned. It sounds nice.
Sounded great. Speaking of chemistry again, should we have our own cocktail?
Oh, yes, please.
Let's have our cocktail. I don't know where that is on our list of things to do, but I have to get this hot pepper stuff out of my throat.
Okay, but is it coming out of a chemistry flask? That's my main priority.
It is coming out of a chemistry flask, you
Great.
see.
Oh, that's very scientific.
It's 175 milliliters of straight bourbon. Mixed with 1 deciliter of whatever this is, Saint Germain.
Elixir.
The elixir of life.
To your health. All of your health.
To your healths. We all need our health as much as possible. And
oh yeah, don't forget to add
bitterness.
Whatever that is.
Bitterness.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, it helps you appreciate
the sweet things in life. Cheers. Here's to you all.
To the sweet things. Oh, that's delicious.
Ooh, so good.
Minion and Katie, that bourbon is really good.
So delicious.
Really, really delicious.
It's fine we haven't eaten.
It's totally fine. Yeah. The next few songs are going to go really smoothly. Speaking of songs, those of you who were here 2 weeks ago may remember the series that we've been working on, Hummingbird. We have a couple new verses. Ocelot.
Ocelot.
Can't commit right on the spot.
Little, see what you got. Ocelot.
Platypus.
Platypus.
Webfoot spurs so venomous.
Hope you don't get mad at us. Platypus. So, as always, create your own verse and send it to us.
Yeah, if you put it in the comments, we'll do our best to sing it.
Yeah, it's not like we don't promise we'll sing it, but we'll do our best.
We'll try. Okay, so back to the Curies.
Yes.
They have this beautiful thing going. They've been toiling for years. It takes them 4 years to break down several tons of pitchblende into less than a gram of radium salts. They are awarded the Nobel Prize. The paparazzi descend, and their lives are kind of upended by their new fame. They have money kind of for the first time. They are able to buy a house outside of town, outside of Paris, and things are going really well, pretty much. But their health is a little like, Pierre in particular.
He's a little wobbly on his pins.
And one day he goes into Paris to have some meetings, and while he's in town, he is crossing the street.
It's a rainy night.
It's rainy, and a heavy horse-drawn carriage strikes him, and he is crushed, and he is killed instantly. And Marie receives the news, and she is desolate. She, like, her loss and her grief are so great. It's her life partner, her creative working partner, like everything. So this is... I'll repeat your name again and always. Pierre, 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 my Pierre. You are gone, and I am left with desolation and despair. Despair. Tender friend with whom I plan to spend the rest of the years of my life. Now I'll never hold your artistic hands, never gaze in your luminous eyes. My dear Pierre, the work that we share, our purpose, our vision, our home. I never thought I'd have to go on without you. How can I continue alone? Eat, drink, sleep, be idle, love, and touch. The sweetest things of life, but not succumb. Not succumb.
My Marie Curie, you will still find me in the trees and the snails and the sky. Cast your sad eyes to the lily pond. My reflection is there by your side. I am all around you in the flowering room, the color in the head. One more time. I am all around you in the flowering bloom, and the calls of the crickets and frogs. They're all carried away by the wind, which caresses, then it is gone. Eat, drink, sleep, be idle, love, and touch. The sweetest things of life, but not succumb. Life a dream, make the dream real and share with the world what it is. We're gathering shells with a hole in our pocket. We cannot hold on to such bliss. Eat, drink, sleep, be idle, love, and touch. The sweetest things of life, but not succumb. Oh, eat, drink, sleep, be idle, love, and touch. The sweetest things of life, but not succumb. Not succumb.
Thank you. Radium's half-life is 1,600 years. It's a long time.
Where are we? Oh, look what it's time to do now.
I believe that it's mailbag time. We're running a little long today. I hope that's all right and you are not needing to rush off to some kind of pressing engagement. But yeah, it's mailbag time. We're coming toward the end of things. We have a couple more songs to play for you before this night is over. Also, we had our first troll. We haven't had one of those before in here, so that's kind of a benchmark or whatever. Thank you, person Dan, for blocking them, and if they come back, we will thank you for blocking them again.
Here.
There's a I put the knife over there so you can
right
open
here.
the box.
You have to hold that.
Okay.
Get the knife.
Okay.
So, where does this come from? And we also want to invite other mail Mailbag participants. If anyone wants to send us a postcard
We
or
love getting mail. We love it.
anything,
You
it
don't
doesn't-
have to send us stuff.
a box, it
You
could
know,
just be
but like we love getting mail. And this mail comes from, who's this mail from?
Sarah and Brandon Parker. So awesome! It's
So exciting.
I can't
Oh,
open it.
it's
so
impossible
exciting.
to open. So
All right. Here we go. All right, here we go.
okay, here we go. What is it? What is it? What is it? Is it alive? Is it a living thing? Ooh, it's a beautiful card. Look at that. Which way is it up? It has an hourglass. It's like the
Oh, this is so
sands of
gorgeous.
time. Oh, wow. Oh, that's so cool. Dear Charming Disaster. Also, I hope it's okay that I'm reading this aloud. In future, here's a handy tip. If you want us to not read your thing out loud, just mark it confidential. Dear Charming Disaster, please enjoy this tarot deck based on the periodic table of elements.
Wow, this is amazing.
If you lay them out in order, they should connect, mixing beauty with science. This could not be more well timed.
Oh, this is so beautiful. This is the book. Materia prima.
Reflection on matter. Oh, that is beautiful.
And the deck.
Oh, let's look at the deck. P.S. When it's safe, please come to Kansas City. When it is safe, we're gonna come to all of your houses.
Everywhere.
It's funny. Kansas City was actually on my check out this city for tour locations in early 2020 list. We'll just put a pin in that.
Oh, this is so gorgeous.
Oh,
This
I'm so.
light is terrible.
This light is terrible.
But
We will. This looks incredible. We will share some pictures of this over the next few days on our social media channels. Does it have a smell? Can I smell?
it smells like matter. Smells like.
Thank
Oh,
you
it's this.
so much, Brandon and Sarah.
Thank you so much.
I can't
It's
wait to
amazing.
crack it open and take a look. This book alone is
This postcard alone is
very-
pretty awesome.
very beautiful. And the author is it's written by Linnea Gitz, and the artwork is by Peter Dunham, and it's called Materia Prima. So if anybody wants to look that up and read along at home, that is what that is. So cool. Thank you. All right, what's next?
Let's see. Well, we have our cocktails.
Yep.
We have done our mailbag.
Yep. Done the mailbag.
Well, we have this,
All right, we've got that.
and then this, and then no.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. So Radium's discovery, as we mentioned, that's what we have next. Wait, before we get back into Radium, we have a couple of song submissions, and I think we
yeah.
have to, we promised to try. All right.
Chickadee,
Chickadee,
hanging out up in the tree.
pretty sure you're judging me.
Chickadee.
Oh, that was good.
Pretty good.
All right, I think I saw another one. Oh, yeah, there we go. This one's topical. Saw it owl.
Saw what owl
Rides to New York in a spruce, y'all. Ooh, I butchered
gets all
that.
the mice it can eat now.
Saw it owl. Challenge. And Caesar mentions platypuses glow under ultraviolet light. This is true. If you are in the Society of the Mysterious Hand, you would have been alerted to this fact by our post just a couple of days ago. So if you're curious about the Society of the Mysterious Hand,
Inquire within.
you know what to do. Okay, so back to radium. So radium's discovery led to things like unprecedented cancer treatments and further understanding of the mysteries of the universe. But it also led, and it led to the whole field of nuclear physics, but it also led to things like the Manhattan Project, the bomb.
Is that cocktail?
Chernobyl. The bomb is definitely a cocktail.
So is the Manhattan Project.
Oh yeah, that's
Yes.
That's good. So it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
And it's hard to know where to land on it. I mean, that's the other thing about trying to make this like a linear story. It's like, what's the moral? What's the moral of the story? Is it like, don't explore these scientific questions? Is it like, just leave it alone and live in ignorance? Is it that like with great power comes great responsibility?
Or just patent your work and don't let anyone else mess with it.
Sure.
They're real idealists. They really believe that people will do good with it, and they're really good-hearted.
Yeah.
Pierre, especially.
Pierre, especially.
Soft soul.
He was, yeah. So, we don't have an answer to that question, but we have a question, and we have this song. We talked about mythology before, and we mentioned Pandora's box. I mean, it seems like it is human nature to mess with stuff and to look for answers and to try to unlock things that are locked and to
push boundaries
and solve puzzles. So
what's the first chord of this one?
it's an E flat.
I love this.
Sister from under the earth, you send up your gifts, unloosed from the mouth of a half-buried jar, mysterious ills, omens and signals all over the city, all over the world, invisible lightning, a furious wind, a rain of dead birds, Our Lady of Radium, light up the dark, save us from secrets you have unlocked. Our Lady of Radium, light up the dark.
Did you have an itch? Did you make a wish? Did you lift the lid? Were you curious? Are you just like us?
Do you know what you did?
Only thing to do is to hope for the best and expect the worst. So we say a prayer, though our hands may crack
Like the yellow cake earth. Our Lady of Radium, light up the dark, save us from secrets you have unlocked. Our Lady of Radium, light up the dark. A new dawn breaks, but we can't wake up from a bad dream. We cannot escape from a garden of roses that make no seeds. Now we've picked the fruit, it's too late to ask, is it better to know? In a square wood box that is lined with lead, a teaspoon of hope. Our Lady of Radium, light up the dark, save us from secrets you have unlocked. Our Lady the dark. Save us from secrets that you have unlocked. Our Lady of Radium, light up the dark. So there's a few more songs. That's not even all of them. That's all the ones that we're going to play from the Curies cycle tonight. But that was 5 of the 9.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much for letting us talk at you about the Curies. And, you know, it's tough because, like, so much stuff gets jammed into these tiny songs. And it's really fun to occasionally just, like, really
open them up and point out all the pieces like this means that and this means But even if you don't know who Marie Curie is and you listen to this album, even if you're not here right now and you get the album, it's still, I am really proud of this album musically and how it sounds. You don't need to know anything. You don't have to learn anything from it. It's just a bunch of good songs. So I'm really happy about that.
So stay tuned. We're still working on it. There's still a lot of work ahead of us. That we're not quite done tracking, meaning like adding more layers of instruments, and then there's like a million steps of mixing and picking the best takes, and we're gonna be doing this for a while.
Yeah. We're gonna spend a lot of time playing with these cool cards.
Definitely. Too. We're gonna do one more song, and that one's gonna be a request. So if you have a request, put it in the comments, and we'll pick one at random. In the meantime, we want to just thank you all so much again for tuning in, for being here with us every week. Like, we never imagined when we started doing this that this would be happening for such a long time, or that we would get to be connected with you all in this way. It's been such a silver lining of this whole otherwise basically terrible time.
Yeah.
And we also want to wish you a very, very happy and safe Thanksgiving. And we are so thankful for you, and we hope that you are all gonna do the thing that makes sense for Thanksgiving and
for you.
Yes. Oh, we have a birthday request, and it's all right. So this seems we seem to have a pretty clear consensus for the Manta Ray song. But first, it's time for the Unicorn Oracle.
Oh, Unicorn Oracle.
This is our closing ritual. If you're new to this show, you might not be familiar with the Oracle of the Unicorns, a deck of cards that came to us accidentally from China. But we like to pull a card from it every week just to give us an idea of what lies ahead, and then one lucky person who orders some merch from us will get that card in the mail. It's
just like we got it.
Yeah, just mysteriously. And I'm going to go ahead and share the links again. If you came in late, this is a donation-based show. There are myriad ways to support this series financially if you are in a position to do that. And getting some music or merch from our Bandcamp is a fantastic way to support what we're doing and also end up with some fun swag or songs you can listen to.
Oh, yeah. We have new merch.
Not yet. We don't.
Coming up
soon. Don't put that knife away. All right. Are you ready to pick the unicorn card? You ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
I guess you're just talking to me because I'm the only one here.
Yeah. I'm talking to them, but you're kind of working on their behalf.
Let me feel what
get limber. You know, channel the feelings that people are having.
See what they're saying. So
All
right. Okay.
What does the Unicorn Oracle have to tell us? What principle shall we focus on for the next week?
Goddess.
All right, now let me read. Okay, let me show you. It's a lady. She has a lot of eye makeup.
It's a goddess.
She has a unicorn horn coming out of her head. There are also a couple of smaller unicorns underneath.
They call those punicorns.
They're very small.
Very small.
Honor your divine feminine energy. Okay. See your inner beauty. Love every part of you.
Who can go wrong with that?
Couldn't hurt. Goddess Unicorn tells us to focus on these things, and now we're going to see you out with one more song. We love you so much.
Each and every one of you.
Each and every one of you.
So glad you're
And
here
we
with
will
us.
see you one way or another
Next time.
next week here. Now, let's talk about a different kind of science.
Pseudoscience.
Pseudoscience, it's real science. Here's some amazing things.
About manta rays.
They resemble magical flying carpets.
Mysterious capes.
Some call them devilfish.
Or eagle rays.
Is that another name for them? Just one kind.
We're not sure. They're migratory.
Over the ocean.
What do they eat?
Zooplankton.
They exhibit a dark intelligence.
They're saltwater dwelling.
They grow up to 7 meters wide.
That's 23 feet.
Manta rays.
We don't know why they do the things they do.
But one day,
I would like to ride one.
I would like to ride
I would
one.
like to ride one too.
I would like to ride one too.
They have a, are they electrical?
No.
Are their mouths on bottom like a vacuum?
No. Try again.
Are they, do they sleep?
No. Manta rays. They're mysterious.
We don't know why they do the things they do.
The things they do.
But one day, I would like to ride one.
I would like to ride
I would
one
like to
too.
ride one too.
I would like to ride one too.
They have a vestigial sting barb.
They're cousins to sharks and skates.
They cannot swim backwards.
They're kind of hard to talk to.
2 words.
Live
Live pup.
pups.
Are they immortal?
We're not sure. Manta rays.
We don't know why they do the things they do.
The things they
Do the
do.
things they do.
But one day,
I would like to ride one.
I would like to
I
ride
would
one.
like to ride one too.
I would like to ride one too.
I would like to ride one too.
I would like to ride one too.
Goodbye. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.